Okay, what you're looking at right here is my Sony ZV-e19 kit lens. And what I want to talk about is the lens that you're currently looking at. And it is the Sigma 16mm. And let's just grab something here. So I'm holding up this DJI mic to say, look at the bokeh on my face, behind me, when I do a close-up like this of a... In a second, I'm gonna take off, regrettably, the Sigma 16mm and put back on the kit lens just so I can have it in my hand while I'm talking about it. When I first got the ZV-e10, the accessories that say Think Media and the guys over there recommended was that specific lens. Now, it's 400 bucks, which for a lens is cheap, right? It's half the price of the camera, when typically lenses are more than the camera, which is great. I was able to pick mine up on Amazon as a open box, so it was $300, a little bit over $300. And when it made sense, I was like, okay, let's up our game with our lenses. I've had the kit lens for so long and it's served me great, and obviously I'm still gonna have it. But just looking at the bokeh you get, let's do something else here. And you just gotta cover my face when I do this and then put something in front of the camera, and it just looks so nice when you do that. So I've been using it in a whole bunch of different scenarios, but let's change the lens out and let's talk about it with it in my hand. Here's the auto focus on the kit lens, but this is the Sigma. And you can see the bokeh, you know, it's fine. It does actually a pretty good job. And it served me, like I said, perfectly well in the past. Once I put this thing on, one, obviously it's bigger than a kit lens, and it just, this sounds dumb, this sounds stupid, but it made me feel like a real videographer, photographer, someone who knew what they were doing, because I had a bigger lens than, or something other than the kit lens on my camera. So there's one. If you just want to feel like a real photographer, videographer, then away you go. But then I started using it, and I've used it in a few different places and a few different things at this point in time. A lot of them at this point had been for my wife's business. She has a cake business called Bougie Cakes. She makes like flowers and bouquets out of cake and out of frosting. So I've been doing a lot of shots with this lens for her. As soon as I started showing her the footage, she was like, okay, I can, she could see the investment in a lens now, and the difference that it made, especially when you're this close to your subject. You're just getting a really good sharp image, but beautiful bokeh in the background and plenty of blur. Caveat: I'm basically a year into videography, YouTube, videoing stuff. We've now got a production company in the sense of producing content, and we're getting a few clients on board now where we're creating content for them. And I've been creating content for my gym for the last year since I got my first GoPro, just kind of taking these different equipments that I've acquired in the last year and testing them out. So I'm a year into this thing, and let's just say I did photography in school. I think I got a C, and it wasn't even a full degree. That was my experience. Haven't done anything since school, and then other than iPhone stuff. To say I'm not an expert is an understatement, because I really am not. That obviously comes across potentially as saying I'm a novice at this whole thing. This thing can really help you out, and obviously there'll be a link in the description below. I would say the open box of this, basically I opened it up thinking, is it going to be in the right packaging? Is it going to have a big dink or anything in there? And when I got it, no, right? It's exactly the way it should be, as if you're getting a brand new. It just, either someone had it, didn't like it, returned it. It came the exact way it should. So obviously to save close to 100 bucks on getting an open box is highly recommended. I'm just actually so surprised now that I'm going back to the kit lens of how different it looks. I've been using my Sony so much more now because of this lens. So my Sony was kind of relegated a little bit to the talking head stuff on the YouTube channel, and some photography for my wife's stuff. But then I was using the Pocket 3, the DJI Pocket 3, used my phone in some instances, the 360 camera, the Insta360 camera, not really for any product stuff, just because it's 360 and just seeing what cool stuff we could do. And then as soon as I got this, I'm like, again, I feel like a real videographer now, as well as it just makes things look so good. And obviously, as long as you know what you're doing with the autofocus. So as you saw when I had it up, I basically just had to block my face out and then put it into focus like this. And you could see on that original image when I when we first came in, my face was completely blurred out. This sign in the background and all the lights were just bloomed and blurry, and this thing was just as sharp as you like. Again, coming from someone who's not an expert here, that's really what I've got to say. Makes your stuff look good. For product videos, it makes them look fantastic. For people, you know, the nice blurry background, and then obviously you can play around with your focus with this. And I'll be honest, I typically have my camera in auto mode for most things, but this has made me go into a few different modes that I have in the camera where I can control some of the settings a little bit more. So basically easing myself into manual. And I've been putting it into manual focus a couple of times, and then obviously controlling it myself. Now, if I want to go back and forth between a subject, I'm probably going to let the software do it. But playing around with it is really cool. When you're taking pictures with this, and obviously this is between the lens and the camera software, and you start to adjust focus in manual mode in a picture, it like crops in really close. It's probably like 10x if not more, and it shows you got a big full picture right here, and it zooms into like something like this, and you're looking at your subject, and you get to basically tweak your focus with this, and you get that instant second when it's as sharp, you know, as you want. And then you take your picture and you know that your exact subject is in focus and you haven't, you know, missed it in some way, because it really punches in so you can see it. I don't know if other cameras do that. You know, the first time I'd noticed it because I'd always been in automatic, and as soon as I switched over to manual with this, it did it. Really cool feature, can't recommend enough. I really put it off. Like I said, I knew about this for quite a while. Think Media, a lot of their videos I've followed. I got the Sony ZV-e19 at their recommendation. I got this at their recommendation. A lot of other things as well, because obviously they're great at helping people grow their YouTube channels. And I just wish at some point, instead of getting maybe some other trinkets or some other, what I thought might have been necessary, I think this, I wish had been probably one of the first few purchases I got after getting the camera. I got a whole bunch of smaller accessories, you know, the batteries, the cage, the mic system, things like that. I wish once I'd kind of checked the essential boxes, I then went into this sooner after, and I could have taken advantage of this beautiful lens. Now, again, I know photography is a expensive game, and I can't imagine I'm going to be buying a lens anytime soon. So between the kit lens and this one, that's probably as much as I'm going to have for a while. But I think they serve my purpose very well. I'm just excited to use this a lot more with some of the clients we have coming on. I'm excited to put this through its paces in interview scenarios, podcast scenarios, at my gym with running and gunning with my gimbal. But I know for this, you know, let's go back. And you're back on the Sigma. I just feel so much better on this lens. That sounds weird, but I like it, and I'm excited to use it more. And again, just block myself out, and super nice, sharp detail of my kit lens and my face right here. Everything else is blurred out. I don't have to acquire taste, or it just looks good to everyone's eye, but I just think it looks fantastic. And you know, as a beginner, as a novice, not having to do too much to make your images look real good and professional. You know, I've been working on my lighting and stuff, and rebranding of the channel, now Dad Tech. It was formerly Braxton Family, now it's Dad Tech. So really trying to up my game in a few different areas. It does it. So that's as much as I want to say. Again, not an expert, I've watched a lot of videos on it, and these people know the ins and outs of camera lenses, and they have 10 lenses themselves, and that's awesome. I'd like to be there someday, but at this point, I've got 2, and I really like my Sigma. So there we go. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.